Hey, look at the bright side. You missed some of my sales pitch, which is fine. We'll get right into the lesson. All right, perfect. So just a quick recap of the schedule. So on the 6th, we have speaking part 1 and part 2. And tomorrow, we will have general reading strategy. All right. So today we are looking at writing task 1. Hey, everybody got a chance to experience what television was like back in the early 1900s before the advent of audio and sound, kind of like Charlie Chaplin. All right, so students, back at the lesson here. Writing task 1 for general IELTS, you have to write a letter, okay? 150 words minimum, okay? To get task completion, you need to write at least 150 words. You can write more, so you can write 160, 170. But if you write less than 150, you will start losing marks. It is expected that a person who has good English skills can write a good letter of at least 150 words. All right, keep that in mind. All right, so here's today's question. Writing task 1. You should spend about 20 minutes on this task. Spend 20 minutes. No more, no less, okay? It's 1/3 of your writing mark. 20 minutes is 1/3 of your writing time. Makes sense, right? Also, task 1 is easier than task 2. It takes a little bit less thinking and planning, less execution. So it helps you to warm up your writing, your thinking. So start with task 1. Don't start with task 2, okay? Leave task 2 for the second essay. And of course, remember that you just finished reading, okay? And reading can be quite tiring and exhausting. So you don't want to write a big, long essay right after you finish the reading. Start with a short one. Makes more sense. All right, so here's today's question. You want to thank your friend for taking care of your flat while you were on vacation. Write a letter to your friend. In your letter, express your gratitude. Gratitude means your thanks or your appreciation. Describe your vacation. Explain the way you felt after returning home. Write at least 150 words. You do not need to write addresses, okay? You don't get marks for that. So if you write 1235 Shaftesbury Lane, California, US, you don't get any marks for that, so you're just wasting time and words. They won't count that in your word count either, so don't write addresses, okay? No sense for that. All right, and begin your letter as follows. Dear. Okay, so before you begin your letter, you need to do what? What should you do before you start to write? What are some good steps to consider before you begin writing? All right, Farhan Zaidi with a very simple and correct answer. Rekha agrees. Do a little bit of planning, right? So plan your response, all right? Absolutely. And to plan your response, you want to look carefully at the question, okay? So here's a strategy. Look at the question and think of synonyms for the details of the question, okay? This is a good strategy to practice at home before you write the IELTS exam. So I'll make a note of that for you here. Just bear with me. While I'm writing this down, think about some other ways to say gratitude. Think about some other ways to say vacation, okay? Those are some good synonyms to consider before you write this response. So step 1 is, of course, plan your response. And a good first step for planning your response is think of synonyms to the keywords in the question description. Okay, so here, Those key words are friend, gratitude, vacation, feeling. Okay, those are immediately some good words to pick out from here. All right. Ahmed, can you hear me now? Can everybody hear me? Ahmed says he can't hear my voice. I just want to make sure there isn't a problem with the voice. Can everybody hear me okay? All right, so let's think of some synonyms. What's another way to say gratitude? I said a word at the beginning here when you could hear me. Hi, Jazzy Prince. So, good. So what's another way to say gratitude? There's a word that starts with A. A thanks, yep, is good for sure. That works. Acknowledgement, shanze, that's a really nice word. Right? Acknowledgement, nice, long, high level vocabulary there. Regard is a good word to think of, sure. Appreciation. Yeah. An expression is show appreciation. Okay, these are useful for task 1 letter writing, absolutely. Pachu says indebted to is a word that comes to mind. All right, great. So, sure, that's fantastic. All right. What's another way to say vacation? How can we say vacation? Now, don't just think of synonyms, but you can think of descriptive paraphrasing as well, right? So, holiday, that's right. Good one, of course. What else? That's the first one that comes to mind, holiday. Time off. Time away. Right? Those are some nice phrasal verbs for that. Absolutely. Okay, break. Very good. Nice one. Urvashi. Good one. Break or break from stresses of daily life. All right, good. So that's what you want to do. You want to build up your vocabulary bank, especially when you're practicing these letters at home. So looking at the question, build up a vocabulary bank before you start writing, and then start to plan and to write. Okay, so the letter has 3 parts. Okay. Part 1, we talked about this in previous classes, so I'm just going to write this up for you nice and quick. So part 1 is introduce yourself and the purpose of your letter. Now, of course, here you're writing a letter to your friend, so you probably don't need to introduce yourself because it doesn't make sense. It's kind of weird. Your friend knows who you are, and they'll get it from your letter right away that it's you who's writing. So you don't need to say, "Hi, John, this is your friend Adrian from across the street." Although you could, but it's not necessary, okay? So the letter should have 3 parts. Part 1, introduce yourself and the purpose of your letter. Now, in this case, what's a good way to start? So again, let's read the question. Write up some sentences that you think are a good way to start this letter, and I'll tell you if it's correct. I'll make some corrections if you have some grammar mistakes. And then I'll give you my start to the letter, and we can compare. So one more time, look at the question. You want to thank your friend for taking care of your flat while you were on vacation. In your letter to your friend, express your gratitude, describe your vacation, explain the way you felt after returning home. Okay, so that's what needs to be included. And Pachu, you're right. There's the intro, the body, the summary, and it's important to know what those are in more detail. So the intro, part 1, is who you are and, and the purpose of your letter, excuse me. Okay, body will be, of course, the information, the narrative. It should have a beginning, a middle, and end. Okay? All right, start thinking of your responses. For those students who are just joining in, you can see this task 1 letter question in the stream description of the video. Urvashi Bazwana says, I appreciate your good will of taking care of my house while I was away on holidays to Kufri. All right, Urvashi, a couple of corrections. Students, pay attention to Urvashi's comment. Make sure you don't make these mistakes. They're very common. So, Urvashi, I appreciate your goodwill. Gesture is okay. It's unnecessary. So, I appreciate your goodwill of taking care of my house. No comma. Urvashi, importantly, you do not need a comma before while, because you have the main clause or the independent clause first in your complex sentence, and the dependent, the subordinating clause is second in your sentence. So you don't need the comma. If you said it the other way, Urvashi, while I was away for my holidays to Corfu, I truly appreciate your good gesture of taking care of my home. That's where you would need the comma. Okay, if you have those two elements reversed. Jazzy Prince says, Dear Ava, thank you for agreeing to house sit for me while I was away. Very good, Jazzy Prince. I really like your natural use of English. We do use house sit or house sitting or house sitter, just like babysit or babysitting. We actually say house sitting. So I'm going to take Jazzy Prince's and the previous comment by Urvashi, and I'll combine the two for an improved start to this letter. Okay, so here we go. So let's start with Dear Ava. Sure, you should just make up a name, whoever your friend is, and start with that. Dear Ava, thank you so much for house sitting. I think it might, yeah, there you go. It's one word. Look at that. So thank you so much for house sitting while I was away on my vacation for the past 2 weeks to, let's take that place, Kufri. I'm not sure what that is, but we'll find out. So that's a great sentence. It's complex, okay? So you're using this subordinating conjunction of time, okay? So while. You're using a nice natural expression, house sitting. Learn that word if you don't know it. Okay. And right away expressing the purpose of your letter. The purpose of your letter is to thank Ava. So, Dear Ava, thank you so much for house sitting while I was away on my vacation for the past 2 weeks to Kurfi. Okay, great. Good start. So this is why it's good to learn in class online, because you get to combine the positives of different students and come up with a fantastic Band 9 start to this letter. Okay, let's see some other questions there. Uzman says, I'm writing to you to express my appreciation for the extra effort you gave during my time away. Usman, good start. The by yourself at the end of your sentence does not make much sense, so you need to change that. So again, Usman Akbar, I'm writing to you to express my appreciation for the extra effort you put in while I was away. Okay, let's keep going. Rekha says, hi, hope you are doing well. I greatly appreciate you for looking after my flat while I was on my trip to Delhi. Okay, Rekha, one more time. Hi, hope you're doing well. I greatly appreciate you for looking after my flat while I was on my trip to Delhi. Notice those corrections, Rekha. And also, Rekha, Delhi, the D has to be big, okay? Students, don't make silly little mistakes in your task 1 letter writing. You have to pay attention to punctuation and capitalization. You cannot write task 1 like you're just doing a quick text message where you can ignore those rules. It's very, very important. If you write proper nouns with lowercase letters like names, and you make mistakes with periods and commas, that will drop your score. So you do need to pay attention to that. Okay, so punctuation and capitalization are important in IELTS. And that can be the difference of 0.5 between 6.5 and 7. And I know some students need 7 to get their visa or to start school. So just those capitals and those commas can make that 0.5 difference. So really pay attention, okay? All right. Patricio says, Dear Aldo, first of all, I would like to thank you for taking care of my apartment during my holidays, period. It was a great gesture of you, and it was very important to me to know that I have a super friend. Okay, Patricio, good. Some good natural speech there. So again, punctuation, all right? Dear Aldo, first of all, comma, I would like to thank you for taking care of my apartment during my holidays, period. That's the end of an idea, a sentence. Oh, just a sec. I'll get you back here. It is a great gesture. So not was, Patricio, but it is a great gesture because it exists now. So it is a great gesture. Just a sec, I'll get you back on screen here. All right, there we go. So careful with your tenses. Okay, and everybody should learn from each other's mistakes, so don't think that you won't commit the same mistake. Everybody learn from Patricio's mistake as well. So it is a great gesture of you, comma, and it was very important, and it is very important for me to know that I have a super friend. So that whole sentence, Patricio, is present tense, okay? It is a great gesture from you, comma, and it is very important for me to know that I have a super friend. And I would finish that with who I can trust to look after my house in my absence, or look after my apartment in my absence. Okay, so careful with tenses, all right? So keep this in mind. This is a tip. Okay, it's an important tip that punctuation and capitalization can be the 0.5 difference, band score difference, that will move your mark from 6.5 to 7, allowing you to get your visa. Okay, so keep that in mind, all right? It's one of the easier parts of your writing to correct as long as you remember your punctuation and capitalization rules. Okay, hi Tim Wesley, welcome aboard. All right, Pachu says, I'm writing in regard to say thank you for looking after my apartment while I was on holiday from the 25th of February to the 29th. Pachu, very good. All right. Everybody, have a look at Pachu Yadav's opening to the letter. It's also a good way to start the letter. What's nice about Pachu's start to the letter is he is using quantitative language. So exact dates, 25th to the 29th of February. Pachu, you should do it like this, okay? So we'll write up that good tip that you're including in your start. Using quantitative language can help expand your letter and increase your band score. So here is a good example by Pachu. Pachu says, I am writing in regard to say thank you for looking after my apartment when I was on holiday from February 25th to 29th. You don't need to repeat February if it's the same month, okay? It's quite a short holiday, but that looks good, okay? So quantitative language is good descriptive language. It not only adds words to your writing of the letter, but it also improves your band score. So it's great to do that, okay? All right, so here we go. Let's keep going. So dear Ava, thank you so much for house sitting. And then here I can add that quantitative language. I have some quantitative language in mine as well because I have past 2 weeks, right? So thank you so much for house sitting while I was away on my vacation for the past 2 weeks to Kufri. What do you think would be a good way to continue here? So what is a good sentence to add after this? Okay? What is a natural idea to continue? So don't get into the details yet. Okay, let's leave the details for the body paragraph. What would be a good way to add this? Isa says February ends on the 28th. Unless, Isa, it could end on the 29th if it's what? In what rare situation can February end on the 29th? Bonus question to everybody. See how your English is. And meanwhile, think about how to continue this sentence. Unless it's a leap year. That's right, Aman or Farhan. Yeah. If it's a leap year, it could be the 29th. Yeah. Exactly. That's called a leap year. That's called a leap year. The reason we have a leap year is because, in fact, it doesn't take 365 days to go around the sun, but it takes 365 days and roughly 6 hours to go around the sun. So every 4 years, we have an extra day to make up for that little bit of distance. Some trivial knowledge for you. All right, so how can I continue this? Thank you so much for house sitting while I was on my vacation for the past 2 weeks to Kufri. How do I keep going? What should I say? Thank you for this, my dear Harneet. I already said that. I said thank you so much for house sitting. Okay. I've already said that. What else can I say? What would be a natural way to continue this? Visualize, picture it, okay? This is a little bit short for the introduction. You want at least one more sentence, okay? When you're thinking about your introduction for part 1, you should think about it as 2 to 3 sentences, okay? 2 to 3 sentences. If you think 150 words, it should be maybe around 35 to 45 words. Okay. It's fine. So far, we don't have anything close to that, right? So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, roughly 20 words so far. So we need at least another one of these nice 20-word sentences. Okay? Harneet says, please discuss one aspect of how to use connectors in the letter. Harneet, one way, subordinating conjunctions absolutely are important. Okay. So Abdullah says, thanks for being transparent with me and taking care of my properties while I was abroad. All right. Well, let's imagine that your friend is the perfect friend. What does the perfect friend do when they take care of your apartment? So visualize. Chai Mae Mimi says, I really don't know how to reward you for what you have done for me. Chaima, I think I would probably save that for the end of the letter. So expressing your wish to return the favor might be a good way to finish the letter. So Bhupinder Singh says, as expected, I enjoyed my trip immensely, and I would like to take this opportunity to tell you a little bit about it. Sure, it's a nice way to connect your introduction to your body paragraph. Absolutely. As expected. Now, that's a leading expression, so you want to put a comma after that. Bhupinder, okay? So, as expected, I enjoyed. Whenever you start your sentence with a leading expression of time or location or expression, connection, then use a comma, okay? As expected, I enjoyed my trip immensely, and I would like to take this opportunity to tell you a bit about it. Sure, that's a nice way to connect your introduction to your body paragraph. Information connects information. Urvashi, that was the other good point that I was thinking of, is expressing your observation of how well your friend looked after your apartment. So Urvashi says, I was amazed at how clean and intact my apartment was upon my arrival. Okay. All right, I would stick that sentence between those two, okay? That's great. Yeah, of course. So that's where visualization is very important. And Urvashi, I'm thinking that you probably visualize that, okay, I open the door, I walk in, I've been away for 2 weeks. I expect maybe my friend did a bit of partying or had some fun. Nope, look at that. They're the perfect friend. Everything is beautiful, clean. They even vacuumed and dusted. How amazing. 2 thumbs up. Okay. And Amandeep, it's like you're reading my mind. I don't know if we have some kind of mental connection going on, but that's exactly what I was thinking just a moment ago, is using a correlative conjunction early on in the letter to show the examiner that, hey, look at me, I have good English skills, I can get a high band score. So let me throw that in there. Very nice. So starting with the not only was I amazed at how clean and intact my flat was on arrival, but also my houseplants have never looked better. Okay, beautiful. That's your band 9 level writing right there. Okay, notice these strategic uses of English to get that band 9. So right away, I'm showing the purpose of my letter. Dear Ava, thank you so much for house sitting while I was away on my vacation for the past 2 weeks to Kufri. While using a subordinating conjunction to join the independent or the main clause with the dependent or subordinating clause. Okay. Subordinate clause. Different people call them different names, different teachers. Using some quantitative information right there, right? Quantity. It's good. Okay, 2 weeks. Then right away after this beautiful subordinating conjunction of time, and this is going back to one of the students was asking me, how do you join sentences? So use subordinating, correlative, and coordinating conjunctions. That's one way. Okay, so here we have subordinating conjunction of time, right? And then right away in the next sentence, I have a correlative conjunction. Okay, so subordinating, correlating conjunction. Not only was I amazed at how clean and intact my flat was on arrival, but also my houseplants have never looked better. And you might even exclaim that because you're storytelling, right? So you put an exclamation mark, just how you would say it, right? Have never looked better, all right? And then, as expected, I enjoyed my trip immensely, and I would like to take this opportunity to tell you a bit about it. So here, using a leading expression, and this whole sentence is what's called a connecting idea or a connecting sentence. Connecting or concluding, connecting sentence that leads into the next paragraph, which is coming up now. Okay, so I'm using conjunctions to join ideas, and I'm using information to join ideas. That's what you need to do to get those really high bands, the 7.5 and going up, up, and up to 8.5 and 9. All right, great. Good job so far, students. So let's keep going. Let's now start the body paragraph. Okay, so in the body paragraph, we should probably talk about our vacation, of course, so how we enjoyed our vacation. Here we're talking about Kufri. I'm not sure what Kufri is. I'm not familiar with that place. But just think about any place, okay? So describe any place. If it's Delhi, talk about Delhi. If it's Kufri, talk about Kufri. What's important is it should be natural. It should be complex. Okay, so when you're talking about body part 2, think about the beginning, the middle, and the end. You're telling a story. It's a narrative. There should be structure and order. Don't jump around. Don't say, oh, we went to the beach, and then we arrived at the airport, and then we had a great dinner. Whoa, sorry. You mean you arrived at the airport, then you went to the beach, and then you had dinner, right? So have logical, chronological sequencing to your ideas, okay? Write your sentences, students. So the body, it's a narrative. You're telling a story, okay? This part should be 6 to 8 sentences. Okay. Needs to include good complex and compound grammar. Okay. Use various tenses. Present perfect, passive, progressive, reported speech. So use a variety or a range of grammar so you can show the examiner that you have a range of grammar. Okay? And make sure that it's natural. Make sure that it's chronological. Okay? Certain that there is clear structure to the information. So this means visualize it. For example, arrive at the airport. What do you do after you arrive at the airport? What's the next step? So let's take some notes here real quick before we begin putting together this body paragraph. So what do you write next? Shanze says, as you know, I was in Kenya, and no doubt it's certainly a scenic country with a remarkable landscape and diverse wildlife, particularly in the Masai Mara. Okay, good. Pachu says, yeah, maybe include some conditional sentences as well. Sure. Pachu, I agree with you. If, when. Okay. What usually happens after you get to an airport, after you arrive to a new city? Rekha says, dinner at a 5-star hotel. Marina says, you change your money. Okay, maybe. Okay. Now, of course, we want to be careful. We have only 20 minutes, so that might be too much detail, Marina, to say that you're changing money. Okay. I would probably say check into hotel, then have dinner, then relax. Or go to do activities. Okay. Grace says, you know what? Upon my arrival, my accommodation, the staff were so helpful. They offered a welcome drink to make me feel relaxed after my long trip. And the next day we went on a tour. Grace, cacao, it's good. Okay, so you have some good sequencing there. Just avoid repetition. So don't use accommodation. The staff were so accommodating. Even though it's a different word form, it's awkward to say accommodation was accommodating. It's kind of weird. Okay, so avoid that. All right, Urvashi says Kufri is a phenomenal hill station surrounded by enchanting valleys. The weather was pleasant, and it makes it a true paradise for tourists. Okay, Urvashi, I would say the weather was pleasant, and this made the trip truly exceptional. I felt as if I were in paradise. Urvashi, be really careful in your body paragraph not to start generalizing your ideas. This is a personal narrative, so it's your experience, okay, Urvashi? So I'm going to take a combination of what some students said and write the next part here. Okay. So, again, continuing with body paragraph from here. Okay, as expected, I enjoyed my trip immensely, and I would like to take this opportunity to tell you a bit about it. After arriving at the airport, my family and I checked into a 4-star hotel where the staff were exceptionally friendly and accommodating. Okay, so I'm combining what some of you students are saying into how I would sequence this. All right, let's do this together. Okay. Kufri, sorry, is a phenomenal natural landscape situated in an enchanting valley. Okay. Throughout our stay, the weather was exceptional with sunny skies and temperatures around 30 degrees Celsius. This made our vacation a true stay in paradise. Okay, so let's step back a little bit here. So I took some information from a couple different students and made some corrections and combined the strengths of what you're saying. And I'll show you what each of you did well and where I made some corrections to push it to that band 9. So right away, I'm using the word after to connect to my previous sentence here, okay? So here I'm using after arriving at the airport. Now notice that in this case, I have the dependent clause first. So this is the dependent, this is the subordinate clause first. After arriving at the airport, my family and I checked into a 4-star hotel, comma, where the staff were exceptionally friendly and accommodating. I kept the word accommodating from one of the students because it's nice, high-level vocabulary, good lexical resource. I used an adjective clause indicating location to make the sentence even more complex. Notice that in the beginning, here, we have the main clause first. Thank you so much for house sitting while I was away. Now in writing, there's this interesting kind of a trick to make your writing more expressive and more dynamic, where you switch the dependent and the independent clause in your complex sentences, sentence after sentence. So here I have my dependent clause second, okay, while I was away on my vacation, and my independent clause first. Then in my next complex sentence for the beginning of this paragraph, I have the dependent or subordinate clause first, and I have my main clause or independent clause second. Remember that comma rule. Here we need that comma, okay? So that's kind of a neat trick to show your mastery of the English language, and again, push that band score higher and higher, okay? Does that make sense to everybody, what I just said there? Is that clear? So switching around the dependent and the independent clause when you're going into sentence after sentence, just to make your writing sound more dynamic. Is that clear, students? Now, I'm really talking about a strategy that you can use to push your score into a higher band, okay? So remember that little tip. That tip can help, okay? Practice that at home, all right? Okay, sounds like some of you are clear on that. If you're not clear on that, just ask, okay? Or you can send me an email as well, but if you're not clear, maybe some other students are not clear, so you can ask, okay? If you're a beginner, Aman, that's okay. Yeah, this is a little bit advanced grammar, but you definitely want to learn that for the future, Aman. So you want to learn about dependent and independent clauses and subordinating conjunctions, okay? So tip, to use your English dynamically in your writing, alternate the dependent and independent clause sentence to sentence. Okay, so that's kind of a neat way to show your higher level mastery of the English language. All right, okay, let's keep going. So here I've described our arrival to Kufri. I described the weather, how it was paradise. Notice that it's about me. It's a first-person narrative. Students, the letter in task 1 is a first-person narrative, so don't generalize because that will drop your score, okay? So if you say things like, Kufri is a nice place, it's situated in a valley, there are lots of activities to do, and you start writing in the third-person voice, that will drop your score. Okay, the letter is about you writing to your friend about your story. That has to be very clear. So you use the second person, first person voice, and it's a first person narrative. Okay. All right. Shanzei says, oh, you can't imagine. The lions abound throughout the parks, as do leopards, cheetahs, giraffes, elephants, and of course hippos and crocodiles. All right, Shanze, you're really getting carried away with the safari. It's okay. Just go step by step, Shanze. Be a little bit more descriptive. Don't just list a bunch of words, okay? That will not get you as many points as if you create a complex sentence, all right? So I'll take what you wrote, Shanze, for my next sentence here, but have it a little bit more robust, okay? So Shanze says, oh, you can't imagine the amazing, I don't think I used that word yet, the amazing safari adventure we went on the second day of our trip. Okay? And then, Shanze, go into describing the lions, the elephants, the leopards, and cheetahs, and so on. Okay? So, we were both fortunate to see many animals, such as elephants, lions, giraffes, and cheetahs. Cheetahs. How do you spell cheetahs? All right. So lions, giraffes, and cheetahs. And, okay, so what I'm doing here again is using another correlative conjunction. We were both fortunate to see many animals, such as elephants, lions, giraffes, and cheetahs, and a bit scared when they came close to our Jeep close to our Jeep. Let's just stop there. Okay? So again, expressive, descriptive language, all right? Incorporate those correlative conjunctions. So one way to practice your high band letter writing at home is think about these subordinating correlative conjunctions and alternate them. So this tip here, use your English dynamically, alternate dependent-independent clause. I can follow that with a second tip, which is alternate your conjunctions, okay? subordinating, followed by correlative, followed by subordinating, followed by correlative. Okay, that will also help to push up your band score, all right? It will make your story more interesting, more emphasized, and it will show that you have a dynamic ability in the English language. You have high skills, all right? If you practice that at home, it will be great. Diego, if the letter is more formal, you definitely need to use more formal approach. For example, you avoid contractions, but I won't get into that today because this is an informal letter. You're just writing to your friend, right? So because this is more informal, you can use contractions like, oh, you can't imagine. Okay, that's definitely informal writing, but it's not text writing. Careful not to confuse informal with text writing. Okay. Urvashi is asking, can I explain the comma use before and? In most situations, Urvashi, you use the comma before and when you join two sentences in a coordinating conjunction. Okay. So the first day we went on a safari, comma, and the next day we went on an adventure park tour. Okay, so two sentences joined with and, you use the comma before it, Urvashi. All right, now I'm going to wrap this up because I'm running out of time a little bit here, so I want to finish this letter for you, but you can do a little bit more at home with this letter if you'd like. It's a good challenge. I truly hope. Okay, let me just, so again, don't rush. So let's say, let me take an interesting hypothetical situation here. So let's say that I'm writing and planning now for like 17 minutes, okay? I only have 3 minutes left. And I remember that, okay, I need to spend 40 minutes on task 2, so I need to finish this letter, right? So here, I'm running out of time. What can I do? Okay, well, don't panic. Number one, don't panic, all right? Firstly, wrap up your story with one sentence. So here you just have a couple sentences left. Wrap this up with one sentence, okay? The rest of our adventure was also fun-filled entertainment, and I will, and here I can use that comma because I'm joining a sentence, and I will tell you all about it in detail when we meet face to face. Okay, so this way I can wrap up the body paragraph without sounding awkward, right? It's my friend. I'll see them face to face, sit down for a coffee, tell them about the rest of the adventure. Now here, I'm not done yet. I definitely want to have the 3 full parts to my letter. So I want to have my conclusion, which is basically signing off and telling my friend goodbye and thanks again for helping me out. Okay, so I want to appreciate my friend for taking care of my apartment. Okay, so again, I want to express my deepest appreciation for helping me out during our time away, and I hope that I can return the favor in the near future. If you need my help, just ask. Okay? Hugs, Adrian. All right? It's your friend, so you can say sincerely or much love, or you can say hugs, as I just did, all right? And again, here, I'm reiterating, so my friend helped me out. Again, I want to express my deepest appreciation for helping me out during our time away, and I hope that I can return the favor in the near future. If you need my help, just ask. Notice that I have a coordinating conjunction here. All right. I have a short but sweet conditional sentence here that's showing my ability for use of conditional language. Okay, so again, it's bumping my score up. And I wrapped up my letter in just a couple minutes, making sure that I still have my full 40 minutes for task 2. Do not, students, do not take time away from your task 2 essay. Okay. Shanze, you can say with gratitude as well for signing off, for your salutation, sure, instead of hugs. Or you can say much love. It's your friend or close friend. You can say much love like that as well. Okay, that works. Do finish your letter. Do include your name. The IELTS people are looking for that. All right, so students, remember these important tips from today's class. Tip number 1, punctuation and capitalization are very important. You should not ignore that. It can be the 0.5 band score difference to make your mark go from 6.5 to 7. Okay? Tip number 2 from today's class. Remember this. Using quantitative language can help expand or stretch your letter and increase your band score. It's good use of description. So when I was on holiday from February 25th to 29th, okay? Tip number 3, okay? Use English dynamically in your writing. Alternate the dependent and the independent clause sentence to sentence. That will make the read more interesting. Number 4, alternate the use of conjunctions. Use a subordinating conjunction and then follow it with a correlative. Follow it with another subordinating. Now, even the subordinating conjunctions, you can alternate them. So remember, there's time, there's cause and effect, there's opposition and condition. So use different subordinating conjunctions. All right. Subod, yeah, formatting is good. I like to put a space in after my paragraphs. Absolutely. Also, I like to indent my paragraphs. It just makes for cleaner writing. Okay, students, that's it for me for today. Tomorrow, we will have a class for general reading, okay? That will come from our website. This is our General IELTS website here. You have this big red button. Click it. Join our full premium course. You won't regret it. There's lots of great materials there for you. 6 full practice exams, interactive course, lots of videos. If you're an academic IELTS student, join this website here with the blue background. That's aehelp.com. Click that big red button. Join us there. Again, remember to practice your writing. Remember these tips. And now I will say goodbye for the time being. In 30 minutes, I will do another class that will be listening section 3 and 4 for the test that we started here on General IELTS last class. So if you were here in yesterday's listening class, you definitely want to be in the next class for the academic IELTS because we're going to do section 3 and section 4. That channel is Academic English Help Channel. So the listening exam we started on this channel yesterday, we will finish in 30 minutes on the Academic English Help Channel coming up. So have an awesome rest of your day, everyone. Again, much love to all of you from the heart of Europe, Budapest. Have a great rest of your day. If it's late in your country, then sweet dreams, and I wish you a good start to tomorrow. Bye for now.